One thing I would like to point out is that I am imagining that many, many vasculitis patients have already had this experience of feeling so blindsided by life and having found a way to get through what feels unmanageable or very overwhelming. And probably at some point in the process, there's fear that and doubt that I can do this. But finding a way to do it, as you said, one day at a time, one step at a time. So I think what you alluded to, these fears of what could go wrong, that's absolutely what we're all being confronted with right now, and it's pervading our media and our conversations because it is so shocking and nothing we could ever have imagined. One of the ways the ego and the mind tries to handle that is to imagine what will go wrong and try to be prepared for it. But what I have found over and over again, that is a limited skill. It's a skill to some degree. And one of the great challenges is to discern how useful is planning. Some planning is very useful, and some strategy is very useful. And that, for example, the sheltering in place, the hand washing that we are all doing, the truly limiting our exposures and being very vigilant about how we choose to clean ourselves and avoid exposures to the best of our ability. But the imagining that we can all get caught up in about what could go wrong actually takes our nervous system down this river of fear. And, that's my metaphor for it, that what really happens is our sympathetic nervous system becomes overwhelmed and hyperstimulated, and that is the part of our nervous system that is there for our survival. So it's a very incredibly wonderful protective mechanism, but it is now highly overactivated. It was honestly meant for situations where we have to run away. It's the fight, flight, freeze response. And those responses are oriented to survival, but in situations of chronic stress or overwhelming fear, they can be overactivated. So one of the most important things we can do is recognize when our nervous system is being overactivated, when maybe we're exposing ourselves to too much media or our imagination is running away down that river of fear, and gently find a way to validate our feelings, because the fear is real. And I don't in any way want to dismiss that. I think that this is a really challenging way to balance. The challenge for all of us is to balance honoring our fear, expressing our fear, making sure we're not expanding it through imaginary thinking, and then coming back to the present moment in a way where we can calm our nervous systems and find what else is true. Because no matter how frightened we are or how scary the situation may be, there is always something else that we can take comfort in or find a way to support ourselves in getting through that fear. So I think that's the delicate balance of taking the action. So when we're in fight, flight, or freeze, we can easily feel powerless or helpless and flooded with fear and anxiety. And that's what everyone is experiencing now in some ways, some of us more than others. And that needs to be honored. But one way out of those feelings of helplessness is positive action. And the action can be many, many things for different people. It could be as simple as doing a breathing practice, building a puzzle, preparing a meal, finding a way to help somebody that might be in need. Could be a neighbor that's very elderly or isolated and doesn't have a way to get to a grocery store. I mean, there are many things we can do. Sometimes it's as simple as sending a little note, a text, a phone call, contacting through social media. There are many things each of us can do that will take us out of those feelings of helplessness and powerlessness. And I think the challenge is to have the conversations which honor our fear, and then also have those conversations with ourselves and with our loved ones about what we can do to come back to the present moment in some way that honors what is and also acknowledges what else is true. So I like to say that our nervous systems are often in this continuum of either fear or love on some basic level. At any moment, our thoughts, behaviors, actions, choices, we could narrow them. The common denominator is we are either in fear or we are in some form of love. And you could include peace and gratitude and compassion and kindness and patience on the continuum of love. And on the continuum of fear, I'm talking about everything from worry and anxiety, irritability, obsessive thinking. We all know this because it's the nature of being a human being to experience both. But when we are in that fear, though, and it's flooding us, the best way out of it is to honor it, meet it with compassion, and ask ourselves, what else is true? How can I come back to some other awareness of kindness, compassion, gratitude, action, those kinds of things.